in my view, the best players and the best team, and they're a very experienced side. They've been together quite some while, is Senegal. I thought they were the best African team at the World Cup. They were unfortunate that they lost their last game to Colombia because they had a good start against Poland. They did. I thought they were the better team against Japan. And they've got some very good players. Sadio, Mane, Niang, who played well for Rennes this season. Sarr's got plenty of pace down the side. In midfield, they've got Kouyaté. They probably will play with the midfield three. Kouyaté can then go back into a centre-half position, as he did for West Ham on occasions before he went to Crystal Palace. So they're an experienced side. They're a side that have played a lot of games together. They've got players that can come into the side like Keita Baldi. They, in my view, are the best. And they've got an experienced coach. Aliou Cisse is their coach. And he's been there for quite some while now. So in terms of the favourites, they're my favourites.
Robbo, Liverpool well represented. You already mentioned Sadio Mane, of course, Naby Keita as well for Guinea, and Mo Salah for Egypt. The Pharaohs on home soil. Salah primed for a star turn in the tournament. They've won the tournament the most times of any team in African Cup of Nations history. Can they do it again?
They've got a chance in terms of they're at home. They've got Mo Salah. They've got a new coach, Javier Aguirre, rather than Hector Cuper, who was too defensive at times. They didn't have a good World Cup. They should have won the African Cup of Nations last time round. They lost to Cameroon. They've got a chance. They've got some good players. We know about Mo Salah. They rely very much on the centre-half, Hegazi, who plays at West Bromwich Albion. They've got one or two good midfield players who the Premier League know in El Neni. And they're going to be playing on their own ground. There's going to be 75,000. It's a football-mad nation, Egypt. They've got a chance. But they're only 53 in the world rankings. They actually aren't in the top six best teams in Africa at the moment in terms of their world ranking. But I think home advantage will certainly make them one of the favourites.
Robbo, you mentioned their chances of winning on home. Maybe the heat will increase their chances of winning. This is the first time this tournament is going to be played in June and July. It's normally been a January and February tournament. Some of the temperatures are going to be scorching in Egypt, aren't they?
Well, it was a toss-up between, I think they decided whether it was going to go to South Africa, where it could have been minus temperatures at this time of year, or whether it was going to go to Egypt. And they say it's going to be anywhere between 30 and 40 degrees. But even more important, it could be humidity of 40 to 60 degrees percent. So that is going to be a real worry for the players. And it's not going to be a high-intensity competition, I don't think. It's going to be a technical competition. It's going to be a tactical competition, because the heat will determine that. And that's why Egypt have got a decent chance. They'll be used to those conditions.
For the first time, as you can see, it's followed the pattern of the Women's World Cup and the Euros. It's expanded to a 24-team field. What's your feeling heading in, Shaka?
My feeling is home advantage will pay huge dividends for Egypt, given the conditions that we've seen. And I understand Egypt's kind of slipped in the world rankings, but when you look at their results, particularly over the last 11 months, they've only lost to Nigeria in Nigeria. And at home, they've put together a decent run of results. Things have really turned for them over the last 11 or 12 months. As a result, I'm leaning Egypt here.
Cameroon, the reigning champions, but Clarence Seedorf, pretty inexperienced at the helm.
It kills me to do this, but I'm going to agree with Mr. Robson. I just think when you look at the side,
that does pain you, doesn't it?
When you look at the team that will probably start, I think the spine of that team is very, very strong indeed. They've got some very good central midfield players. Koulibaly, who I didn't rate in the Champions League, but hopefully he'll play well for his country in this tournament. And of course, going through up front, you've got some absolute game-changing players. I think what's going to be interesting is they've got to learn from previous tournaments. Cisse, the manager, Robbo said, is an experienced manager. He needs to prove it this time. He needs to manage the players in the heat. They're expected to do very, very well. I think they will do well, but there's one or two little sort of bumps in the road for them. I'll take Senegal.